ICE agents have a warning for America. Get ready for an immigration nightmare. They say the White House and top bosses at Immigration and Customs Enforcement are crafting a plan, giving incentives to illegals to stay in this country in order to win over votes. Cran represents some 7,000 ICE workers. Chris, what's going on here?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me on. I don't know, where do you want to begin? Do you want to begin with this new prosecutorial discretion memo that ICE has recently put out?
Well, what does that mean, the prosecutorial discretion?
Well, basically, it's supposed to mean that as officers, we have discretion in the field to make decisions whether or not individuals stay in ICE custody or are arrested at all. But the reality is, and if you look at the policy, it specifically states that the director of the agency has that delegated authority, not officers. It's then sent down to supervisors in the field who will basically be ordering our officers to release people or not arrest them at all.
So, from my understanding, it's a memo from ICE Director John Morton. It has these prosecutorial discretion items in there. And there's about 24 where, somebody could say, look, I joined a church, or I went to high school here in the States, or I have a family member who's in the military. And if an individual falls into any one of these criteria, you have to let them go?
According to that policy, if the ICE director says we have to let them go, then we have to let them go. And I want to be very clear that this is a very far-reaching policy. A lot of people are under the misconception that this is only going to affect secure communities, which has been a somewhat controversial program. But that's not the case. This is going to affect every arrest that we make nationwide. And if you look at our numbers, last year alone, we deported about 370,000 people. In addition to that, we arrested and came in contact with a whole lot more. So these 24 or so criteria, which it says in the policy is not even an exhaustive list, we will have to apply those to approximately 500,000 cases a year, and this is going to be a couple of thousand ICE agents in the field actually trying to pull this off.
So in your
it's
mind,
it's not going to happen.
It essentially is tying your hands. Your hands are tied, and are you in a position, and the other 7,000 agents in a position to where you would rather just let somebody go rather than detain them, arrest them, even deport them, and then maybe lose your job? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, our hands are absolutely tied, and I want to be very clear about that. As officers and agents in the field, we will have no discretion, zero discretion, as to whether these folks are arrested or detained. And if we don't follow those orders, yes, we will be putting our jobs on the line. And I want to specify, too, that the managers in the field don't approve of this policy. They're speaking to us. A lot of them, quite frankly, want to defect. And, they're letting us know that, hey, we're afraid of losing our jobs if we don't follow this policy as well.
All right, Chris, we certainly do appreciate it. Cran.